We have a special guest with us today. Welcome, Jackie. So Jackie and her husband, John, pastor my church, and we are very happy to have you with us today. You have homeschooled for 17 years.
Yes.
And you have 6 children.
Correct.
5 of those are adopted.
Yes.
And you've done foster care for 12 and a half years.
Yes.
You've had over 40 kids come through your home, which is amazing.
Wow.
So that is the reason why we asked you to join us today, because you are used to homeschooling multiple kids while keeping little ones busy and just
learning.
Yeah, learning at the same time, right?
Learning too. Absolutely.
So we would love for you to share with us all of your nice ideas that would help other homeschoolers, because a lot of homeschoolers are in that same season of life where they have multiple kids and they're trying to juggle even babies or toddlers at the same time. So yeah.
Well, my first advice would be to always work with the kids first, the younger first.
Okay.
I feel like working with them first gets that time of, talking and whatever. We always start our day with Bible as a family, and then I work with the younger kids. And then as I am finished with working with them, then I work with the older ones and I set out centers.
Okay.
And I brought some of my different types of centers that I've collected over the past 17 years.
They all look fun.
So some of them are as simple as I just laminate a picture of something they like and clip numbers on. When they're learning numbers, they match the numbers. They also, that will help them with pre-writing skills, strengthening muscles in there.
That's a great idea to laminate something that's very interesting to them.
Right.
Because my boys would have loved that.
And clothespins. I love that. That there's a texture there, and then there's also that dexterity, that pinching skills.
Yes.
And we forget about all of those, how crucial those dexterity skills are.
Right.
Yes.
Great idea.
The next thing I have is, this is a mess-free painting. It's by Color Wonder, and you just get the little pens wet and they dip it in here and they can color on the Color Wonder pages. And it doesn't make a mess, so you can have 1 or 2 year old painting while you're doing science over here with another kid, and
they love that.
It keeps them busy because they think they're big.
That's really neat. That reminds me of our water wells that we have where you're dipping in water, and that's nice. They think that they're really doing something messy, and it's really it really is contained.
Keeps it all contained. Yeah.
Yes.
Painting seems to be like
not today.
Not today. I'm never doing painting, but that's a great way to do that. And then they're also working on those skills to hold a pencil and all of that. That's fabulous. Yeah. Do you want to hand those to me and get them out of your way?
The next thing I have, I've had children with sensory processing disorder, and these are Orbeez. This is like about a teaspoon or 2
looks so
of
fun.
them. They start out really tiny, and then you just pour tons of water on it, and
love that texture.
then they have like almost like a wet, bouncy texture. Then I hid little animals I got from the dollar store in here, and the kids just love to search for them and find them as a center.
Would they use their hands for that?
Yes.
When they were cool
yeah,
with
that helps them get the sensory needs that they kind of crave.
Right,
Very
because
cool.
you've worked with all sorts of kids, right?
Correct.
With autism, with of course, sensory issues.
Yes.
And
most of our children are Med-Spec or Behavioral-Spec. So keeping them busy is essential.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's not just busy too. I wanted my kids. I had a real tendency to want them to be occupied, but to be preoccupied, I guess, but then to be occupied in learning, because this is what's happening here.
Right.
So that's really good. And then they're really engaged in what's happening.
Right.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, and most of them have a short time attention span. So I would set about 3 to 5 of these out each day while I'm working with the older kids, and I would set a timer for 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes they would switch to a new one.
And these would only come out while you're working with the older kids.
And so
during something special
during the day, like playtime, stuff like that, they don't get to do any of these types of things because these are only school center time.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why did you have them do it only then?
So that they get excited about doing school, because when kids are little, like I said, all of my little ones always wanted to be big like the big kids, and they're like, why can't I do school? So I had to have things that, you know, they wanted to sit at the table and they wanted to do their schoolwork, you know, whether it was just scribbling on a piece of paper or but then these evolved over the years, and so when I have currently 3 that are 30 months apart. So it was a newborn, 1-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and the newborn had severe genetic problems, and at the time, or she still does, has cystic fibrosis, and she was only fed through a G tube. So like, my hands were full. I was constantly trying to find ways to keep 3 little ones busy,
and you had 3
not interacting with each other to distract the older kids from the things we were doing. So that's when I got really big into the centers.
You had to come up with something, right?
Well, that planning is so helpful, right?
Yes.
And so, because in the midst of it, you're like, you know, you got too much going on to think through that logically.
Right.
I mean, 3 little ones with challenges. I remember my first year of homeschooling, and I had a 2-year-old with early elementary, and he had so much fun. Like, I didn't know what I was doing my first year. You know, we went on nature walks and did science experiments and field trips, and he loved all that. But when it came to the core instruction, I'm like, I quickly realized I have to do all of this, a lot of this during nap time. Or when we were doing read alouds, he would crawl up on top of the couch and play with my hair. I'm like, okay, he just wants to be included. So I should have talked to you 30 years ago.
That inclusion is very important, right?
Yes.
They're part of the family, and you're not sending them away like a punishment or something. I found that very helpful. And when we talk to families, that this dynamic is a challenge, and I even think it'd be cool, like different moms who have lots of little ones to get together and make some of these different things and then
great
share them
idea.
with each other. You know, that would be awesome. Even you could have a lending library or something.
Right.
So you'd have something
busy bag.
Busy bag, learning bin. I think we call them. There's a lot of different names for them now. Right.
Yeah. So
What else do you have there?
when my kids were younger, we didn't have a lot of money. So I went to the dollar store and purchased different things like I have popcorn kernels here. I don't know if you can see those. They're different colors. You put them in sandwich bags, and you put a couple of drops of food coloring on it, 1 squirt of hand sanitizer, and just smush them. And the kids can help with that, you know, smushing them up in there. And then you leave them for 24 hours, and then you lay them out on paper towels to dry. And then I mixed ours together, and we did different things where, like sometimes we'd put it in our water table, or we'd put it in a bucket. Like in the winter, I would bring the water table inside, and then I'd put scoops and funnels, things they could play with the pieces through.
And those are so colorful. That's a great idea.
I made those like 17 years ago, and they're still pretty vibrant. So.
You could scoop them up with the plate and the next thing, and people could see that a little. Yeah, I can hold it for you.
Yeah, I love that.
So fun. Did you ever feel like, choking hazard?
Yeah, I had to watch. I have one of our children has pica, and I had to watch that child very carefully with things that are small like that. But I made sure that they were old enough and mature enough to not put things in their mouth. Sometimes in the house that we currently live in, there's a sliding glass door right by our dining room table. And so I would put the table of those outside for the older kids to get to play with while the younger kids did the centers inside. So sometimes I would do different age centers too, where, you know, the younger kids couldn't, like some of these, the younger kids just can't even physically do.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm going to
great
give that
idea.
back to you, and you can
Alright.
scoop out something else.
This is another really cute activity that my kids still love to do. These are just different types of dried beans and pastas that I got from the grocery store.
Yeah. Right.
And I would take egg cartons and wash it out, and then they would just sort them into the different ones, and they'll spend hours doing that.
They all
They
have
really
different
like to sort.
textures. Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's fascinating, isn't it, that it doesn't take a lot of bells and whistles, I think. And that's a real practical application, too,
Yes.
right? You could have them come into the kitchen and then, sort
Yes.
these.
And kids who put things in their mouth, it's not going to harm them. Well, these are
That's
like 20
true.
years old, so that might help. But those are, those types of things I didn't have to
Right,
worry
you're
about
not-
if they put them in their
Sure.
mouth.
Very good. Yeah. And actually,
idea.
pretty quick, they probably spit them right back out.
Yes. This is just pony beads and pipe cleaners.
Oh, how
They
fun.
would use the pipe cleaners. It just helps with fine motor skills, trying to
very
get the
much.
beads on and off.
Right.
As they got older, I would say, can you make patterns? And so we try to
Oh,
make
that's a
harder
great idea.
patterns.
Yeah.
Or just working on colors, can you put all greens on here?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So that bit of direction just takes a moment, and then you can
Right.
get back to math or
Right.
with the other kids, right?
Yes.
And I love that this pattern idea, and you could lay it out, and they could copy that.
Yes.
And they're
Cool.
working on so many skills with that.
Right.
Just
Yes.
simple activity. Love that.
Very neat.
All right, my next activity, this was just from the Target dollar bins.
Okay.
I have a bunch of those. This is great. I would always have them stand up because they'd want to sit down and try to force it. But they have little magnets on them.
Right. How fun.
And they're super cute. And then they'd have to stand over them and try to catch the magnet and catch
They love that.
this is a turtle and that's a starfish.
What little kid doesn't like fishing, right?
Right.
Right.
I made a cheap version of that, and this one's uptown. And put paper fish and put a paper clip on it, and then had the magnet. And my youngest enjoyed doing that over the side of the couch, and a
Right.
real challenge to get that to
Yeah.
go. And all of those things are doing much more than we realize in the child's brain, and engaging them and learning. They get excited about being able to do stuff
Right.
on their own.
Yeah.
The list of benefits is like crazy long, right?
Yes.
It's really cool.
The next one was one of my kids' favorites. I just got it at the dollar store, and
I remember you talking about this one.
This one is a double mirror and a flashlight. And this was a center, and they would spend 10, 15 minutes trying to reflect and blind people in the house, try to reflect it off the windows and see if they could get it onto the walls. And it just taught them all kinds of science things,
Right.
just
That's
what
so cool.
about reflection
Yes.
and how that works. And they had so much fun. They thought they were super cool, being little and having a flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all these things are very economical, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to keep them engaged.
Yes.
So.
This is another one that I got from the dollar store. That's good for fine motor skills. They're just carabiners that they love to clip and unclip. They can make different shapes. They can make different patterns. They can,
The colors are different. Yeah.
they can learn how to undo and do them.
Who doesn't
Very
have
nice.
carabiners around their house? I
Right.
have way more than I
Right.
need. I need to give you some more.
I think this was just like $1 when the
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start thinking about things outside the box like that, you start seeing all the learning opportunities.
Yes.
And I think you have a gift in that area as well. But I sometimes we just need a little bit of imagination to help us with those things and take a moment.
So this is the next one from the dollar store that I got. It's just a gigantic magnet. And then depending on the age, I would have stuff, small or big,
save
that magnetize, and things that didn't, like pom-poms
Right.
and stuff that's safe for
Another
little kids.
Science activity.
But yes, they could figure out.
I'm intrigued with the rice bottle there.
Yes.
And that looks homemade too.
Yes. So this is, you can get these at craft stores. They're
Sure.
sensory jars. And some of them I'd fill with like water and hand sanitizer, and you can turn them upside down and the glitter will go up and down.
Oh, yeah.
You can put colors in it. This one I filled with rice and put little toys in there. There's a Lego, there's a paper clip, a counting bear, a dice, a pom-pom, things like that, erasers. And they love just
They get
searching
so
for,
excited when they find those.
searching for things.
Seeing what they could see.
Yes.
That's great.
Very neat.
Again, with the Target dollar bins,
Magnets.
these are magnets, and we found out that our front door is magnetized.
Oh.
So they really enjoyed standing at the front door with the.
You're the dinosaur house, right?
Yes. They really enjoyed standing at the front door, magnetizing them, and that gives them different. Works different muscles in their body from sitting down to standing up with the arms.
That
Right.
core
On
strength
point.
is so important. I didn't really realize
Yeah.
that even affects your hand grip.
Yes.
things.
Yeah. I have a child that never crawled, and he did not develop the muscle strength correct in his back to hold his pencil tightly.
Oh, wow.
So he really struggles with handwriting. So we used lots of things like this. Another really fun one that he loved was the window markers. On
yes.
the sliding door, I would have our window crayons. The markers were less messy than the crayons for some reason. But he would stand at the door and we'd write letters on the door. And if he was doing, as they got older, if they were doing spelling words, or he just personally loved to spell words. He was really good at it. So
And that helped him with things that.
yes, that would
didn't
build
even
the
realize.
muscles between
Yeah.
his shoulders to help with the handwriting.
Okay.
Every day, Jackie, we talk to families whose kids have learning challenges, and that's another reason we wanted
Yes.
to bring you in, because sometimes I'm sure you had your overwhelming moments.
Oh, yes,
and,
definitely.
And you just get overwhelmed, and I know I would be tempted to spend so much time with one group or the other of my kids rather than being able to meet all their needs. And it's just, it's overwhelming. And so these kinds of things can also empower you as a parent,
Yes.
and to spend, that it can be
Knowing
done, and it's an encouragement. And so that's another reason we wanted
And, you know,
to
you
have
have-
you here.
I'm sure you're always busy with appointments, right?
Yes.
So how do you manage that with littles? Like, do you take things on the go or?
Yes, we have, each kid has a backpack. We go to the library every week. They love books.
Yay.
We always have art supplies in our book bag. A couple years ago, we had 4 short of 300 appointments that year.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
counted it
I
because
can't
I just
even-
wanted to know, because I was like, this is a crazy year. 10 of those were surgeries for the kids.
Oh, my
And so just trying to balance all of that, and overnight stays in the hospital, stuff like that. And so we keep our stuff pretty close to our book bags, if not in our book bags. That way, if we need to just go, we can go.
Oh, that's great.
And
That's
so,
a great idea.
and as they're gotten older, they know more like what they will keep them entertained.
Sure.
And then my oldest daughter, she also would always just keep a book bag full of fun stuff like fidget toys and stuff like that to help keep them busy when we were doing different appointments and stuff like that.
Okay. And speaking of fidget toys, just out of curiosity, what was the most
Fave.
popular fidget with your little ones? Or they liked all kinds?
They liked all kinds.
It didn't matter.
Especially my oldest daughter would make some for them.
Okay.
Like she would make bracelets that have pony beads, and they would slide back and forth. And so they loved or to play with hers. Or
Okay.
I also bought them the shirts that have the flippy sequins. So they really,
Oh, yeah.
they really
That's a good
enjoyed
idea.
those types of things. That's always with us. So that kept them
Right.
entertained.
Yeah, they have backpacks with that now. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have the library. We go to the library a lot, and we encourage lots of reading. And they'll give away prizes, and they have little keychains that we attach to their backpacks,
Okay.
zippers and stuff, so that it's an extra little thing to
Right.
keep them busy.
Right. And you had mentioned that this one here could be like a the circular
that.
part of it.
Yes. So kids with autism
hold
often
that.
like to see things spinning. At least one of mine absolutely loved
Yes,
that.
movement,
So these are gears that you can build. There's instructions to build things they suggest. They're huge. Some of them are huge. Some of them are small. And then as they get more used to it, they can build their own. There's chains in here that wrap around them.
Oh, fun.
Wow.
And these come undone, and so they can try different things. And it's a lot of trial and error. And they're like, "This doesn't work." I'm like, "Okay, take a piece out and see if you can make it work."
Right.
And they still to this day absolutely love the center. This is one of them that still is in a circulation with what they love to do.
That's fabulous. And how old's your youngest child?
7. My youngest is 7 now.
So so don't get rid of the Legos
Right. They
or
probably
those
want to
kinds
bring
of things.
these things out sometimes, right?
Yeah, the sorting beans is still one of their favorites. The gears are one of their favorites. This pattern play has been one of their favorites for a long time. I had a child that really struggled with like spatial relational type things. There's cards in here, and they have to try to build it exactly.
Oh, I love that.
The way it says.
That's very complicated. All
Yes.
this for
Now
people
some of them are
easier.
easy,
Yeah.
and they're but some of them are really complicated. And
Yeah.
so this was a
I
challenge
feel like
for
this is complicated.
Yeah.
yes.
It's gorgeous.
I had one child, the one with autism, who could do this at 2 years old. Like,
Oh, my goodness.
He
Wow.
loved this.
That's
This was his thing.
fabulous.
He would spend so much time doing this. He would cry when I would put it away. That center time was over. But then
How marvelous.
another child really struggled, but it was good for her because it would help, teach her how to build that.
Sure.
And, we had to walk step by step through, show her. And it was still a struggle, but she enjoyed doing it, though. And it built the
And it
skills that
worked
she
on those
needed.
perception skills, yeah.
That's so
Awesome.
fun. So patterns and engagement and tactile
Yes.
and fine motor skills, all of those things are so important for
Right.
any preschool kid.
And really, preschoolers should really focus on play-based activity. And I know years ago, 30 years ago, when my firstborn was a baby, I sold Discovery toys.
Yeah.
And because I wanted all those educational toys, and we didn't have a lot of money back then either. So it was like, oh, I'll get all that package. And but it was, you don't realize that when they're even just like building or doing imaginative play or exploring, that they are working on those memory and focus skills and fine and gross motor skills and problem solving skills and social skills even. And
right and left brain connections, all
Right.
of that stuff is
And-
so important, right?
yes, and that was their motto. It was a play is a child's work. And I'm like, that really makes sense,
Can you make
because
that as an adult as well?
I know. So play is really their context for learning, and you're right.
Yeah.
It's
How often would you change out your learning bins?
So I had 2
centers.
giant bins that I kept on top of a shelf so they wouldn't get into them outside the school day. And I just would, every year, my goal was to add 3 to 5 new things to it.
Okay.
But every day I would just pull out 3 to 5 of what was already made. And so that made my life really easy when you
Yes.
have 20 things and you can just grab a few. And there were days where they were like, can we please do the fishing or, something
Yes.
like that. And of course, I would pull that one out because that's going to keep them more engaged in what they want to do. And then I never used books as a center because when they were little, I like to do that interaction with them, the snuggling,
Right.
sitting in your lap.
Sure.
And I
Yes, that
also,
makes
the
sense.
one with preK would eat the books. So I had to be careful of where the books
Yeah.
were and stuff.
Sure, sure. That's why we brought in that tote with all the smaller boxes in it, because it's a easy way to do that.
Yeah, to separate it out.
Separate it
Yeah.
out. You've got a small amount to deal with
Yeah.
there. So that's always been a fun And like, I didn't even know we carried that thing, but
No.
you know, but it's handy to have those things already prepared. And then your goal was to make 3 a year. I think that's really reasonable, right? And you can start with just 1 or 2 things, right?
Right.
Don't feel like you have to have, 14 different activities, right? So they're seeing this repeatedly, the different things, right?
Yes.
So they're seeing those things, and did they get bored with them?
Almost never.
Okay.
Almost never. There were a couple of kids who had a couple, like 1 or 2 that they might not enjoy as much. Like the older kids would like, this is another dollar, or the dollar bins at Target. This is bugs. My kids all
They're magnetic,
love
right?
bugs.
Are
Yes,
they?
they're
Oh, yes.
magnetic.
Okay.
This is one that you can take on the road because they are magnetic, and so it makes it easier. It has information about the bugs.
Fun.
But one of the kids just did not enjoy this one in particular. So a lot of times I would put this one out for the kids that really enjoyed it and put a different center out for the child that didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, 'cause that was my next question. How much did you tailor to their own tendencies, to their own
Interests
preferences or interests? Because
For the most part, all the kids loved all of them.
Everything.
Like I made the Orbeez with the little animals for the sensory processing problems, but the other kids just loved playing them.
too.
I actually had our water table once full of those, and high schoolers wouldn't stop playing with them. They just loved them. They'd shove their whole arms in there.
What was your water table like?
It was just a circle. It was a normal water table. It was just a circle. It wasn't very big. It had a few little pieces, but I would put I'd just go to the dollar store again and just get some measuring cups and funnels and stuff like that, and they would play for forever in those.
did you put something down underneath?
No, when it was outside, I didn't have to worry about it. When it was inside, I made sure it was only in the kitchen, and then they all helped clean up when it was done.
Hey, like that idea.
Yes.
Another learning opportunity, right? Because I have talked with families that don't like to do art stuff because of the mess. And there's a trade-off, right? But then the mess can be cleaned up by everybody, and that's a great lesson too.
It is.
There are some things like Play-Doh. My kids loved Play-Doh, but they made the worst mess, and I just couldn't deal with that, so we had to scrap that way.
I hear you.
Right.
But things like these paint dabbers, you can print off free pages online that are, letters or colors or numbers, animals.
Idea.
And they're not too messy. We have old t-shirts that I cut the sleeves off of their dad, and then they'd put it on and
Great.
to keep their clothes clean, and this just wipes right off. So they would dot
Very nice.
on there like a bingo type marker.
I like that idea. My mother made took old men's shirts and we wore them backwards
For painting, yeah.
for painting and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, because she didn't like mess either.
Right.
That's fabulous.
You have some
We
other-
did bring some things like that are already prepped for you because, sometimes you just want that.
Yeah. Right.
Have fun with that one there, Jackie. The you're learning to undo, to tie. You can set the clock there at different
kinds of
times. You
fun
can
things.
zip, unzip. So that's really working on that dexterity like you were talking about, all in one place. There's a whole series of these. We just added these. I think they
Not
just
so long
arrived
ago.
this month. Yeah, this
and it's
week.
got you can take it where doctor appointments.
There's a plastic thing, but it's really easy to take along with you.
I like how lightweit it is too.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for kids to carry.
Yeah.
Even if it becomes a weapon, it's going to be pretty
It's
easy.
okay.
It's okay, right? Yeah, and then you were talking a lot about sensory. There are puzzles that have this kind of thing. Books have that texture to them, and then you're matching the number with things.
Love
so
that.
this is a new touch and play that we just started carrying as well. And my kids loved kinetic sand.
yes.
Did your kids?
Yes.
And that's-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not going to
more
open
doable
this.
than Play-Doh, right?
Yeah. And what's the benefit of the kinetic sand? What did you find?
There's imaginative play. There's just the texture, the sensory feeling, just learning how to like make different things and shape it. It's kind of like an art session without quite the mess
Right.
of
Yeah,
art.
that's a great. And this one in particular travels, and then it also you can push the steamroller through and make the patterns and dig. There's things to dig out, and
Many
yeah.
creative opportunities there.
Yeah, I would have fun with that, I think. Absolutely. And speaking of that, we opened this one up,
Yes.
and all of
all
our
had
grown consultants started playing with this because there's a dexterity going on there, and there's also a game.
Yeah.
And you
Spin the
have a
wheel.
menu. Yeah. And so you're having all of these guys, and you have to pick up the noodles with
That is so cute.
What is that called? I call them pinchers. I don't know. And then whether it's 4 or the 5p, that kind of thing. And we were all pretty excited.
Yeah.
The volume in the office got much bigger. We've got a chili pepper.
So you follow directions, you're learning colors and size. And,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
again, those fine motor skills.
Now there's
Love that.
there's an age restriction on that, but that could be a center really easily and
Absolutely.
individual play. Did you ever have the older kids working with the younger children?
On occasion I did, but normally I was working with the older ones while they were busy. My older kids always loved to read to the little ones or play with them outside, stuff like that. My oldest daughter has a reptile petting zoo that she's had since she was 15.
Wow.
And so she allows the little ones to like help her feed them and take care of them, teaching them,
That's great.
how like all about them too, because she's passionate about it.
Right.
I think that's such a great note to end on, actually, because we're a family and we're all learning together, and the older kids are enjoying their siblings and they're getting to do things together. And so you're building that camaraderie, and you're also you've been modeling, teaching, and loving and caring for your kids, and they're doing that with them as
You're
well.
doing life together and learning together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what we're doing when we have toddlers or a baby. We're living life, and we're all learning together. And I think that we need to encourage ourselves and encourage each other that we're doing those things, and those are very valuable things. Maybe all of the math problems did not get done today. Right?
And if you have 20 doctor's appointments in a month or whatever, they're still learning.
What was
they're
the
learning
number
a lot.
again? How many?
I think it was like 296
Wow.
appointments. Yeah.
Right. So be encouraged.
And you found that your kids still learn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a time where the older ones would help the younger ones, like in the appointments or something. If a younger kid had a issue with a math problem or something, that the book we brought along, they could help. Or when the doctor wasn't there, of course, I could help too. Another thing that I was just thinking about the centers. One of our children, she walked on her toes all the time, and the therapist wanted the balance beam of heel to toe, and so my oldest child was about 15, I believe, at the time, and he had been asking to start doing some woodworking with my tools, and so we built a balance beam for her, and that became one of the centers because the kids, and they would have different walks that they would need to do, like frontward, backwards, sideways. And so that was working on, skills, important skills too.
And he learned woodworking.
Yes,
right?
and he learned woodworking, and we stained it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So one desire led to meeting a need, and I think that's such a life skill.
Yes.
Right. So we wanted to encourage those of you who have preschoolers, and are busy with life.
Right. And we'd also love for you to share your ideas in the comment section
Absolutely.
of maybe what helped you and your family.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a question for Jackie, we'll try to get that taken care of too. So thanks so much for joining us. We're going to play in the sand a little bit more.
We are. See you later.
Bye.